So today, I wanted to give you guys my impressions and thoughts from the first 10 or so hours of game time that I've had with the final version of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I've played many different versions of this game already over the last few months. I've done playtesting events at DICE's Stockholm offices, public builds at game shows like EA Play, and of course we've had the alpha and betas run just a few months back. But this final version is the one that we will all get to play, and playing with other gamers as well, rather than a closed group of selected people, and that can sometimes make a big difference. I'm going to comment on the things that I do like about this game and the things that I don't like about this game, and I'd encourage you to leave some of your own thoughts down below in the comments section, things you like and things you don't like, or if you want you can come and join my Discord server and we can chat there too. I'm in there pretty much every evening answering questions, talking to the community that we've built up, so there's a link in the description if you want to join that. Now, first of all, I want to discuss the gameplay, which is obviously a core element of any game. Does it feel good to play? I think this game is very good to play. It's slick, it's unrestrictive, and it has a ton more depth than the previous title, and that instantly gives the game a positive. You have distinct roles with different trooper classes, a clear route on how to obtain more powerful characters like jump troopers, vehicles and Wookiee warriors, and of course the hero characters as well. Having those defined roles not only makes it easier to adjust your own playstyle depending on the map or the situation you find yourself in, it also allows you with greater accuracy to understand your opponents. Very quickly you'll learn what a First Order Heavy Trooper looks like, or a Rebel Scout and so on. And this will help you in battle against those classes, as you'll already have a good idea what they can do in a blaster fight against you. Engagement distance is also another key factor, with some classes having much greater distance damage potential, and all different classes having different health values. So these layers add a lot more to the gameplay, and they don't mix up all the different elements like the first game did. The first game preferred a single soldier approach with different hands of cards that you can pick and different weapons, which meant coming up against certain people, sometimes you had absolutely no idea of the power that they had at that given moment in time. I think Battlefront 2 remedies that situation. Next, I want to talk about the presentation of the game, the audio and the visuals. They are absolutely stunning, and I don't think anyone can really argue with that. Game after game that comes rolling out of the Frostbite engine seems to set the bar higher and higher overall. And with a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2, you could have betted good money DICE was going to absolutely smash it. Now, I know I've said recently in another video that I made about the Battlefield franchise that graphics don't mean everything, and that gameplay should be more of a focus. But as I just mentioned about Battlefront 2's gameplay, it's vastly improved and much more satisfying than it has been in the past. So the fact that DICE has managed to achieve that, alongside absolutely stunning visuals, is a point they need to be commended on. The detail in the level design, the texturing, and the overall theatre that's been created is little short of astonishing. And that is important because I think it's one of the key pillars of these Star Wars games that EA, DICE and Lucasfilm are making. They want the players to be immersed in the Star Wars universe so they can play out all these different fantasies of the films and the different stories. When a game looks as incredible as this one, I think it's then hard not to make direct comparisons to the films that have already been produced. When you play on Kashyyyk and you're storming the beaches, it is a really, really cool feeling. The audio as well, it's really rich, it's really vibrant, and you can tell the developers spent a lot of time trying to tie that all in to the graphics as well. Something I really noticed, the voice acting. Sometimes that goes missing in multiplayer games, but the way some of the heroes talk to each other when one spawns in is a nice touch. Han Solo will say something to Rey as she spawns in the announcer voice layer, and that just adds another step to the authenticity that DICE has created here. The blaster fire, the explosions, even the ambient noise created by other characters surrounding the real battle, they really encompass you in what's going on, so each level really feels alive all of the time. Next, I want to move on to the content, and this is a key area for the game because the first one, that one severely lacked in this department, and it was deplored by critics for not really adding much after the launch either in those DLC packs. Now, Battlefront 2, it comes with plenty of content out of the box, spanning 3 eras of the Star Wars universe. That means plenty of locations to fight in, plenty of weapons to use, and characters to work towards with the battle point system. There are also large numbers of star cards to collect via the crate system, but I will come back to the crate system specifically soon, later on in the video. That is a big talking point in its own right. You've also got emotes, victory poses, and outfits for the different heroes to collect as well, so really I don't think you can argue with the amount of content that is in the game so far. Now, I've seen some people commenting that there aren't enough weapons, with only 4 per class, but Battlefront 2 isn't really about primary weapons like other shooter games are. It's about the abilities that you can unlock and grind for through the star cards. There are so many of them for each class, and there are more for the starfighters as well, reinforcement characters like the jump troopers, and of course the heroes. There is a lot of content to play with in Battlefront 2. With the heroes specifically, however, I do have some feedback for the developers, although at this point I think I'm just echoing what the entire community has been saying. Currently some of the heroes are locked, and you need credits to unlock them. 2 of them, Luke and Vader, they cost 60,000 credits each, and based on some averages created by Reddit user The Hotter Potato, it could take upwards of 40 hours or so to unlock just one of the several locked heroes. Considering you can also use your credits to open more crates, you might have to split those credits between heroes and the crates. So you're going to be waiting a long time before you can play as iconic characters like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. I think this is just a bit of an oversight by the developers. Perhaps they didn't have enough data to suggest what a good value would be for locking these heroes away behind, but I think already this is something that has to change. People are really annoyed about this, and frankly, I'm a little bit annoyed as well, because I don't want to be spending 40 hours per hero, on average, to unlock them. I've already paid for the game. I don't mind grinding for things to unlock them further down the line. I like having things to achieve, but 40 hours for one hero is a little bit ridiculous. So maybe changing some of those values, DICE, bringing them down to maybe 15 or 10,000 credits, that might be a way to resolve this. And now I want to specifically talk about the crate situation. Yes, I believe there is still an element of pay-to-win built into Star Wars Battlefront 2, and considering the game has a base price of $60, I can totally understand why so many people are upset that these crates hold power in the game. I pre-ordered the game, I played the beta, and I played in the Origin Access trial, so the first time I actually launched the game, and this is another issue I had, I already had like 10 crates to open before I even started playing the game. And I got a few purple level star cards, some green ones, and some blue ones as well, all of which give you slightly different statistics to the base level star cards. I have 2 purple cards for Kylo Ren already, and at the moment I've only played about 9.5 hours of the game. The random nature of the cards being handed out is not something I really wanted to see in the game, nor did I really want to see power held behind a paywall. It's more of an accelerated paywall, however, because you can grind the game and get all of this stuff without paying for the packs, but the way the progression system has been built, it seems like they're trying to incentivize people to just buy the crates. And I'm not 100% sure that's going to fly, and based on the reaction of the internet over the past few days, that isn't going to fly when the game already costs $60. I'm not going to give DICE a bad rep here for wanting to make more money off of these crates, and before you say I'm a sellout and pandering to EA and DICE's needs, hear me out, because all of this money that's coming from the crates will be funding all the free DLC for this game. That keeps the community together, and technically, if you don't pay any more money after buying Star Wars Battlefront 2, all of the updates that come out, all of the extra content, you don't have to pay for. You just simply have to play the game to unlock this stuff. Personally, however, as I've said, I don't like this pay-to-win element in the game, and I just wish they could have found a better way of doing it. I would have liked an in-game store where I could purchase different trooper skins for real money, maybe purchase different hero outfits, rather than them being in the random crates. Maybe we could have had emotes in the store as well, and I could have paid real money for those. All of these things are cosmetic items, and surely a purely cosmetic system would have been preferable to what we have at the moment. However, having spent time with the developers on Star Wars Battlefront 2, helping them playtest the game, and I did the same thing on Star Wars Battlefront 1 back in 2015, I have a good understanding why I think that isn't the case, and why these things aren't in a store that you can just buy, and why this cosmetic customization isn't really in the game. And that's because Star Wars isn't owned by EA and DICE. They don't have creative control of this franchise. That's down to Lucasfilm. And I think the door was slammed shut pretty early on some of these skins and emotes being available, because if they stray too far outside of the Star Wars universe, then they don't kind of fit in with everything else that's going on. And we already know that Lucasfilm are extremely strict when it comes to keeping their story in check. So while I can understand the situation that we've actually got is based on something beyond DICE and EA's control, that doesn't really make it any easier to swallow, and I think many people would have preferred a cosmetic system over what we have now, and I think this is going to hurt the game moving forwards. That being said, I personally haven't experienced a single moment so far, I think, in Star Wars Battlefront 2, where I feel a player with greater level star cards than me has really had the upper hand in a gunfight. Unless I'm totally out of position and it was my own fault, I really shouldn't have been doing what I was doing and I died as a result of that. The skill of a player controlling the character still has a much bigger role overall than some incremental updates in the background. If you suck at aiming but you have the most accurate blaster in the game, that's not going to make the blindest bit of difference. You're still going to get beaten by somebody who can aim better than you because they can land their shots on target. This is not me trying to excuse the monetization route that DICE and EA have chosen to implement. I really don't like it as much as the next person, but in my own experience so far, it's not caused the issue that perhaps people were expecting. Although, as soon as pay to win's mentioned, I think most people are going to get a little bit upset about that. And as I said earlier on in my review, I can totally understand why people are upset about this monetization system. Now, as a side note, I've not really played any Starfighter Assault so far, so I can't comment as to the pay-to-win feeling there, but there have been a few videos floating around YouTube that show the power that some of those cards hold, so the scenario over there might be different to Galactic Assault and the infantry-based game modes that I've been playing. So now we've made it through the chunk of my thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront 2, I'd like to give the developers some smaller notes of feedback, just some suggestions that I've had based on my playtime so far before I end this video. Firstly, I'd like to see an option to be able to collect credits and different rewards in the end of round screen from those assignments, rather than telling me I have to quit the server to go and collect them from the career menu. That would be a nice step to remove from the UI. I'd also like to see an option to matchmake onto a specific planet or location added to the multiplayer menu. At the moment, you can only choose the game mode as the last option before a server will load, but often I'll end up on a planet that at the time I don't want to be playing on. The previous Battlefront had this option added not too long after launch, so to see that again would be quite nice. I'd also like to see crafting parts handed out for duplicate star cards and other items from crates, rather than credits. All this does is inflate your credits value, and it incentivizes you to open more crates, rather than getting some crafting parts to potentially put towards upgrading a star card manually. This was the case in the beta, but for some reason DICE changed it, and I think that was a bad move, and it would be good if we could revert that. And lastly, I'd like to see some form of hut contracts return as well, where perhaps we could put down credits as a wager, and if I complete a challenge, I'm rewarded with perhaps more credits, or even items in the future. Hut contracts was also another way of tying the Star Wars universe together into this game, so seeing that return would be good. So there we are, my impressions of Star Wars Battlefront 2 so far. It's a great game with good, engaging gameplay, but ultimately, I think many people at the moment will be put off by the messy, confusing and optional paid advantages that can be gained from crates. I'm really enjoying the game, so I'll be playing it for months to come, I'm sure, but I can understand why some people will end up avoiding it, and that is totally fine. You're entitled to your opinion, and if you don't want to buy the game, that's totally cool. thank you very much for watching, and as I said at the beginning, if you want to come and chat some more about Battlefront 2, then come and join my Discord. The link is in the description. I'm sure there will be a heated debate going on over there. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.